In today's video, I'm going to show you how to easily perform a VLOOKUP in Google Sheets, and I will also explain the why and the logic behind VLOOKUPs and how they can be so powerful for your spreadsheets. Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is the Part-Time Economist, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to do a VLOOKUP in Google Sheets. Now, your first question probably is, what even is a VLOOKUP and why does it matter? Why should I use it? So a VLOOKUP, I'll give you an example first and then I'll explain it. Think of it as a phone book, right? A VLOOKUP allows us to search through our spreadsheet, find a piece of known information, and then return an unknown piece of information. And you're probably thinking, wow, thanks for confusing me a lot more than I was already. But think of it like this. We've got a bunch of friends. We've got John, we've got Steve, we've got Rick, and we want to call John, but we don't know his phone number. Maybe we know Rick's phone number, we know Steve's address, but we don't want any of that. We want John's phone number. So what a VLOOKUP is going to do is it's going to find a search key called John, and it's going to return the piece of information that we want, which is his phone number. Now, the cool thing about VLOOKUPs is that we could return not just his phone number, but we could customize it. So we could design a VLOOKUP to say, hey, I want you to give me not just his phone number, but his address, and maybe his email, or just give me all the information that we have about John. So very customizable, but we're going to start with the basics. So when we are creating a VLOOKUP, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find an empty cell, doesn't matter where it is, and we're going to start with equals. Now remember, whenever we enter our equals sign, we are telling Google Sheets, get ready, a formula is coming. So we're going to start with VLO, and it automatically pulls this up for us. It's VLOOKUP. Now a VLOOKUP is going to take 4 arguments. What are arguments? Arguments are just what we are putting into the function. It's if we're baking a cake, right? These are the ingredients that we're using. So what is the input here? What are we looking for? Well, we want to find ETH. So ETH in this example would be John, right? We want to look for John's phone number. Well, in this example, we want to look for the amount of Ethereum that we own. So the first thing is, what are we searching for? And the reason that I put this in quotes is because this is a string of characters. So it's looking for ETH. Now, I could have just as easily put ETH in a box, and then instead of putting ETH in quotes, I could have put cell alpha 11. It would have worked just the same. But because I am putting this in here manually, I do have to use those quotes. So we're telling it, look for ETH, but we've got to tell it where to look for ETH. If we look over here, we're not going to find it. If we look here, we're not going to find it. We're looking for ETH within this section here. And again, you're probably saying, this is 3 cryptocurrencies. I can see Ethereum right here. Again, VLOOKUPs become more powerful the more data we have. So if we didn't just have 3 cells, we had 10,000 cells, we would select that entire range to find the ETH. But for right now, it's pretty simple. The next argument that we're going to put into this function is, what do we want to return? So far, we've said look for ETH. Okay, here I found Ethereum. I've looked for it in this range, and I see that there's a couple things associated with Ethereum. There is an amount, there's a price, there's a value. Which of these do you want back? Now, what we have to do is we have to be very cautious about this, because the way that we tell Google Sheets what to return is by giving the column number. And this is the column number of the range that we were searching in, not, I say again, not the column number of the spreadsheet. So if we want to get the amount here, we are not going to put column C. We are not going to put number 3. What we are actually going to put is 2. Because we are counting not from the beginning of the spreadsheet, but from the beginning of this data range that we selected. So this is 1, this is 2, and then the last thing we are going to put is false. And false is just basically telling Google Sheets that our values are not sorted. So pretty cool, right? We were able to find ETH. If we want to switch to something else like BTC, we can enter that. And that's not bad, right? I wanted to show you the fundamentals first, but in reality, that's typically not how you're going to do a VLOOKUP, right? You're not going to do, because that's kind of clumsy, right? We don't want to have to go in each time and Now we want to search for ETH. Now we want to search for Bitcoin. Rather, what we want to do is something known as data validation. And this is where VLOOKUPs get really cool. So let's just go ahead here and let's put some labels, AMOUNT. And then for here, we're going to put search key. So let's go ahead and get rid of some of this stuff. Just tidy it up a little bit. All right, so we've got our key and we've got our amount, and right now it's pulling for Bitcoin. We don't like that. We want to have a drop-down list of all the cryptos that we could search for. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this cell again. We're going to go to data. Data validation is what we're looking for. And what we're doing with this data validation is we're saying, we want you to give me options that I can pick from so I don't have to manually type things in. So what I want here is I want this range. These are going to be our values. Again, if we had more values, we would be selecting the entire column, but we've only got these 3 here. And what it's doing, you'll see this little drop down arrow, and now it says, hey, these are the search terms that you can pick from. So you can pick from Ethereum, you can pick from Bitcoin. And the cool thing about that is we can also, let's suppose that we had, again, 10,000 cryptos. We could start typing. So if we type B, it brings all the cryptos that start with a B, right? And let's suppose we keep typing. We want Bitcoin Cash. As we start typing, it's going to narrow that down to what we want. So this is allowing us to select our search key. What this is doing, this is still coded to give us BTC, which we do not want. We want this to be interactive. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to say, look for whatever this data validation field is. So now you'll see it's interactive as we switch from Ethereum to Bitcoin to a basic attention token. It's automatically updating based on that. And you could build the entire thing out to where you've got price, you've got value. And when you flip this one switch, what you're going to see happening is it's going to basically update for all of that. So let's just go ahead and put PRICE and then value. And then all we're doing, we're literally just dragging and dropping this these cells over, and it's automatically doing that. So as we switch between each of these, so cool, right? It gives us the information that we want. And that's the basics of a VLOOKUP in combination with data validation. So I hope you found the video useful. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time.